and welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves, presented by JJC Athletics. As always, I'm Damian Dennis, and this week I'm joined by JJC's cheer coach, Tiffany Scholle.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We were
It's perfect.
talking about it, and I almost had, it almost left my mind immediately as I said it. It happens every week.
Right.
It's funny.
Names can be hard.
Yeah. Other than forgetting names easily, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying the weather?
Oh, the weather is, just reminding me why it's good that we're more of an indoor sport.
Right. And yeah, that's what we're here to talk about. Your competitive season has come to an end, but what a way for it to come to an end with a second place finish there at the national event.
Yeah.
Just kind of your overall thoughts and feelings just about that finish.
I mean, it was very exciting, and I was so happy for the athletes on the team. The whole year was a little bit of a roller coaster, as sports can be. And being that it was our inaugural season as a competitive team, I think athletes and coaches alike, we knew we had the talent. We knew that we had put in the work to have a strong finish. But then as it was happening, it was kind of that validation of everything that we had done. And we've got something really great going on here at JJC. So
I want to talk a little bit about it being the inaugural season for competitive cheer
Yeah.
here at JJC. How did just the decision come about to begin the competitive side of things? And, was there any doubt or maybe hurdles to kind of get past to kind of
sure.
find your groove in that realm?
Yeah. So as to how it came about, I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure because all I know is a friend of mine that coaches let me know that a position had opened up, and that caught my attention. So I came in, for the interview. Thankfully, got the job. Yay! Hopefully, everyone's still excited about that. And then was kind of told for the first year, well, we were cheer and dance. Do what you got to do to get us a competitive team. And I started with some open gyms, and the first biggest hurdle was getting anyone interested in joining the cheer team to understand that competitive cheer is very different than the cheer and dance that there was before. So that for very first season that we didn't head out to compete anywhere, I had 4 athletes. So the 4 athletes, we worked with them and had them out at a few games and then used them to help us with recruiting efforts for this past season's team. And we grew to a team of 14. And I think then the next hurdle was just trying to make sure we could find a space, within athletics here and also the training of the athletes and making sure we were all on the same page with what's necessary to actually be competitive. And something that I kept reiterating to them was we're not going to do this just to say that we've done it. We're not going to go to Daytona just to say that we went and had a good time. So we're going to do everything with fidelity. And they stood up and met the challenge, and so we had good results. And now we've already had evaluations and our first round of recruiting for next season, and we have 20 athletes. So It's looking good.
What a change from 4 to what's looking to be 20 now.
Yeah.
The success at the national level, has that helped? How has that helped recruiting at all? Because I've seen on Instagram, which is where I follow along mostly,
Right.
you guys have, you've signed a number of recruits just
Right.
in the last month or so.
Yeah. I definitely think our success in Daytona at nationals was huge because that I would say was probably the next biggest hurdle was to be an unknown entity and try and recruit. We've got a lot of great talent in the area and feeder high schools. But the competitive cheerleader isn't going to join a team that they don't know how they're going to perform, what they're going to do. So being able to go to Daytona and do well and experience some success opened the door and kind of put us then on the radar of some of these athletes that we're looking to recruit.
What's the difference between cheer at the high school level and then at this level? Because I'm trying to remember back to when I was in high school. I can't remember if our cheerleading team really participated in many competitive events. I think we did, but I don't know if it was taken as seriously.
So, even at the high school level, there's a wide range of what you'll see in competitive cheer. Some high schools are very competitive and they do the maximum allotted number of events for IHSA. They'll go to IHSA state and do well. And then in college, the biggest difference is you don't have as many competitions that you can go to. We're really lucky here at JJC being that NJCAA has recognized cheer as a competitive sport. They're starting to roll out a plan for some competitions and their own nationals. So that'll give us, it's looking like around 6 competitions that we can do. This past year that wasn't available, so we competed at NCAA nationals, which is that's it. That's your one and only competition. It's a national level. You qualify for it by going to summer camps and then putting together a short routine that gets evaluated. And so that's, I would say again, biggest difference number one is you learn early if you're going to that kind of pinnacle event, and then you've got all season to train with very little feedback, and you just hope that in those 2 performances you can put something that's competitive out there.
What's practice like for a sport like competitive cheerleading? I know I've seen your student athletes at like men's basketball games, for example. Is that kind of taken almost like a practice for you, or even to some extent maybe a competition because you're actually performing in front of people, not just
Yeah.
yourselves?
Yeah, we definitely utilize sidelines and the opportunity to do halftime routines as practice and those performances in lieu of competitions. And really, even practices outside of that, the biggest thing with cheer is it's so multifaceted. I know a lot of sports you need to be good at multiple different skills, but these athletes, they have to be elite tumblers. So they have to have some sort of gymnastic background to be able to do that. They have the stunting skills in which, they're learning their particular position. And a lot of them, we ask them to be pretty adept at multiple different stunting positions so we can move them around. They've got to be able to do the series of jumps and then our basket tosses, and then you've got the pyramid elements where it's now we're going to have 20 all of them working together to put together these multiple structures. So we schedule our practice times and how we go about it in such a way that we can kind of look at each of those different elements, give them time to work on it, perfect it. The synchronization is really key in cheerleading. And so that's where having the opportunities to be at basketball games and kind of work on that in front of people is super helpful.
You mentioned the NJCAA kind of starting to recognize or recognizing competitive cheer and the opportunity for more events. Have you thought about potentially, and maybe this is a conversation for a different audience than just me, but maybe an event being held here on the competitive cheer side of things?
Yeah, and I know I've spoken with Director Braun about this as well. I think our event center space is great, and JJC has a wonderful campus. I'd love to bring an event here. I definitely have said I'm willing to put our name in the ring for hosting the Invitational this upcoming season or potential nationals in the future, just to get a bunch of other teams here and get people in watching them because it's really great.
Yeah. And I mean, being able to host an event will also then boost, recruiting again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Can we highlight a few of your student athletes? I know you and I talked a month
Yeah.
ago, and you've told me a few names already in the past, but give a chance to kind of highlight them here on the show. I know Julia Ham's one of them. A few others. Names are my issue. Slipping my mind.
Here
at
I
the
can
moment.
help you. Yeah, Julia's great. She was a recruit last year coming to us from Plainfield East. And speaking of, these athletes learning different positions for stunting, her specialty in high school was a secondary or side base. And we got her in and said, we need you to back. And she became integral in that position and just really good at being kind of that quiet leader on the mat. Ariana Montemayor is another kind of integral athlete that we have on the team that you and I have spoken about. She's a flyer coming to us from Plainfield South. She's a great performer, and always looking to kind of take those corrections, super coachable. A good friend of hers, Ava, another flyer. The two of them are kind of like partners up in the air, match each other well. And we also have Taylor Tomzak, who came to us from Lamont. So she's great. Her and Haley Shires, I'd say, are really good to have on the team because they've experienced a high level of success in the high school arena. Both of them were on state qualifying teams. Taylor made podium with Lamont in 2023. And so they were great in Daytona because we had a wide range of competitive experience. And so just having them be able to speak about their experiences in a big arena kind of brought everyone down, kept them calm and focused on the task at hand.
You kind of answered my next question because I was going to ask about the experienced ones helping the inexperienced. But,
Yeah.
I guess with the trip down to Daytona, what do you guys do, outside of the competition slot?
So we spent obviously some time just enjoying being in Florida and the weather. Actually, the very first day was kind of rainy like this. We also took the opportunity to just take in that experience of being surrounded by all of the different cheer events that were happening. So they have it set up that some events are happening in their indoor arena. That's where we competed. And then they have this band shell that's outside. Anyone who's watched the Netflix series Cheer is probably familiar with seeing it. And so just being outside and seeing all of the different teams, seeing they have a mascot competition, which is kind of cool to watch. And then taking the opportunity to kind of do a little bit of team bonding. We had several different team dinners and opportunities to just enjoy each other's company in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of being at the event, did you mention, you watched some other events going on? Was there anything that you feel like maybe the team took away from watching some of those other other schools, other competitions, especially at the various levels, anything that you think they may have taken away or hope they took away?
Yeah, and I know even in conversations with some of them, as we were kind of making our trek home, they definitely took away one that we have the ability, we have the talent, and now we've kind of got that plan to be able to hang with certainly our specific division, but kind of looking forward a few years in the future, the goal will be to get to the advanced division, and they for sure are. They started asking questions right away. Okay, so how are we going to look to increase skills, and when do you think you'd open up maybe an additional team? And just it was really great and kind of warmed my heart that they're now invested not just in their own success, but being on the ground floor of what will be a growing program.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Tiffany, I appreciate the time. We've been talking for nearly 15 minutes at this point, which is great.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year we can have you on more. It's been a few times throughout the year where I've had a coach on after their season has concluded. I'd like to do it during the season.
Yeah, anytime. This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
And again, you're watching Coffee with the Wolves. We'll be back next week.